It was just another Tuesday morning. The sky was grey, the air heavy with drizzle, and I was running late again. Same route, same seat near the window, coffee cup in one hand, earphones in the other. Nothing about that day felt special, just another routine commute. Heading to a job that felt more like a loop than a life, but sometimes the most ordinary mornings hide the moments that change everything. The bus stopped at the next corner. That's when he got on, an older man, maybe in his 60s, dressed simply. Holding a folder full of papers, he looked around, spotted the empty seat beside me, and nodded politely before sitting down. I didn't pay much attention, just glanced once, noticing that one of the papers sticking out of his folder had the words Dream Project scribbled in bold letters. He caught me looking, smiled faintly, and said, "Funny thing about dreams, we spend half our lives chasing them, and the other half convincing ourselves it's too late." That sentence, it landed like a spark in the quiet of my morning. I pulled out my earphones, half curious, half unsure how to respond. He asked what I did for work. I told him, something stable, I said. The kind of job people congratulate you for, even if it slowly drains you. He nodded, then asked softly, "Do you love it?" I froze for a second. The question was simple, but the silence that followed said everything. He chuckled gently, "Don't worry. Most people don't." That made me smile, but there was truth in his voice, not judgment, just understanding. Then he started telling me about himself. He used to be an engineer, steady job, solid pay, respected title. He rode this same bus route for almost 20 years. One morning, he said, "Someone asked me, if your younger self could see you now, would he be proud or just polite?" That question kept him awake that night. He said he looked around his office the next day and realized he'd built a career, but not a life. So, 2 months later, he quit. He started teaching neighborhood kids about basic electronics and computer repair. Less money, sure, but more laughter, more purpose. He said, "I may not be building skyscrapers anymore, but I'm helping kids build dreams. And that feels better." I remember staring out the bus window as he spoke, the streets blurring by, his words echoing in my head. There was something about his calm certainty that made me feel small, but in a good way. Like I'd been asleep for years and he'd just tapped me awake. He looked at me and said, "You know, the safest paths are sometimes the slowest ways to lose yourself." I didn't reply, because deep down, I knew he was right. The bus slowed near the downtown stop. He gathered his folder, papers sticking out at odd angles. Before stepping off, he turned and said one last thing, "Don't wait until your dream becomes your regret." And then he was gone. Just like that. No name, no number, just a stranger leaving behind words that wouldn't leave me alone. That bus ride replayed in my mind for days, then weeks. At first, I shrugged it off, but every morning, as I walked into my office, those words echoed louder. Would your younger self be proud? I started writing again, something I hadn't done in years. I took night classes, explored new fields, and talked to mentors. And slowly, my life began to shift. It wasn't a sudden leap, it was a quiet, steady realignment. All because of one random conversation that lasted less than 20 minutes. Years later, I still take that same bus route sometimes, different seat, different destination. But every time I pass that old stop, I find myself wondering if he ever knew the impact he made. It's strange how people who change your life rarely realize it. They show up for a moment, drop a truth you didn't know you needed, and disappear, leaving you to figure out the rest. That conversation taught me that advice doesn't always come from mentors or books. Sometimes it's whispered between stops on a bus ride, simple words that realign your entire direction. So, if you ever meet someone who says something that stirs your soul, don't dismiss it. Maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe it's the universe reminding you that it's never too late to start again. Has a stranger ever said something that stayed with you? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And if you enjoy life-changing, reflective stories like this one, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us for more on Viral Voice Tales.